Hi, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I will explain the ending of the wonderful story of Henry Sugar. So let's begin as with all of Wes Anderson's movies. The wonderful story of Henry Sugar leaves some loose ends for the audience to fill in for themselves, and it has deeper meanings to be extrapolated and analyzed, adapted from the Roald Dahl tale of the same name. The wonderful story of Henry Sugar revolves around a wealthy, self-obsessed man who discovers the ability to see without his eyes and uses it to cheat at card games and swindle casinos out of money. This is the first of a series of short-form Dahl adaptations that Anderson has helmed for Netflix. Here is everything you need to know about the ending. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The real-life character of Roald Dahl, played by Ralph Fiennes for the screen, tells us how the man needs just the right environment for writing. He needs coffee, chocolate, and sharpened pencils. And if things are not the way he wants them to be, the thoughts just don't flow on paper. After making sure that Dahl has everything, he starts to narrate what happened that day when Henry Sugar went over to his rich friend's library and accidentally saw a book that was based on true accounts and written by a person named Dr. Chatterjee Dev Patel. Dahl asserts that though it might seem like fiction, the story is based on real events. Dr. Chatterjee was the head surgeon at the Lords and Ladies Hospital in Calcutta. And one day, an old man walked into his room and told him and his colleagues that he could see everything, even with his eyes closed. Dr. Chatterjee, like everyone else, didn't believe him at first, and he also felt a bit annoyed, presuming the man was just there to waste his precious time. The doctors conducted a quick test by making Imdad guess the number of fingers with his eyes closed. What happened surprised them, and they knew that they had to know more about this man, as what he was doing was scientifically not possible. Imdad said that he had come to the town for a show, and he wanted the doctors to conduct a test on him, so that he would prove to the people that he was not lying. Imdad said that even after performing the greatest magic trick, which was 100 genuine people didn't believe him, and they always thought that he was deceiving them in some way. Dr. Chatterjee and his colleague Dr. Marshall conducted their test, and the results were baffling, and they just could not believe what they had seen. Dr. Chatterjee went to watch Imdad's show, and after that, he met him backstage with a desire to know more about how he was able to do all of that. Dr. Chatterjee made an offer to him. Dad, he said that he would document his entire journey as faithfully as he could, if Imdad told him how he developed those powers. Imdad also wanted his story known to the world, so he started narrating his life's journey to Dr. Chatterjee. Imdad had met a yogi in India back in the day who had this power to levitate many inches above the ground. Imdad said that he was hiding behind the bushes and watching the yogi perform. He couldn't stop his impulses, so he went running up to him, and the yogi felt that his privacy was violated, and in anger he indeed threw a brick at him. Imdad got injured, and the yogi felt bad for losing his temper. Still, Imdad only hoped that he somehow got to know the yogi's secret so that he could use it in his own profession. How did Dad get his powers? The yogi felt guilty about assaulting Dad up, revealing his secret and telling him Dad how he had gotten his powers. He said that the human mind is always very scattered with a myriad of things going inside it. The trick was to be able to learn to focus on one thing so that no other thought could break the concentration. The yogi said that it took 20 years to achieve that feat, though he also cautioned him, Dad, that there was no certainty that he would also take that amount of time. Dad knew that he would have to put in a great deal of effort to have those kinds of powers, but he was ready for the challenge. Imdad took a candle, stared right at the center of the flame, and tried to picture his late brother's face. He said that the human mind is always very scattered with a myriad of things going inside it. The trick was to be able to learn to focus on one thing so that no other thought could break the concentration. The yogi said that it took 20 years to achieve that feat, though he also cautioned him, Dad, that there was no certainty that he would also take that amount of time. Dad knew that he would have to put in a great deal of effort to have those kinds of powers, but he was ready for the challenge. Imdad took a candle, stared right at the center of the flame, and tried to picture his late brother's face. Imdad was making progress, and every day he used to sit in front of the candle and meditate. One day, he realized that he could read with his eyes closed, and that's when his life completely changed. He no longer needed his eyes, and he showcased the result of his austerity to the entire world. What did Henry Sugar do after learning the trick of all the things? What intrigued Henry Sugar the most was that Imdad was able to guess the type of card in a deck without even looking at it. Henry Sugar knew that if he was able to see like him, Dad and the monk, he could use it to win unprecedented amounts of money in gambling. Henry Sugar was allured by this aspect so much that he actually followed a disciplined life and did the impossible. He learned the trick of seeing without opening his eyes the day he realized that he could guess the card in the deck. Within 5 seconds, he decided to go to a casino and put his newfound powers to the test. Henry Sugar was able to earn a huge amount of money, but when he came back to his home, something strange happened to him after spending so much time training his senses and following such a disciplined spiritual path. His entire being was purified, and he felt that he could connect to his higher self. He no longer wished to have all that money, and he ended up throwing it all away from his balcony. A police officer, played by Ralph Fiennes, came to his house to scold him for causing such a ruckus on the stress when he could have invested his money for the cause of humanity. That's when Henry Sugar got the idea, and he decided that he would win more money from the casinos and use it all to open hospitals and orphanages. Henry died at the age of 63, but by then he had raised a whopping $644 million and had opened 21 orphanages and hospitals in total. John Winston Dev Patel. Henry's assistant called Roald Dahl and asked him to write a brief history of Winston Sugar LLC and the legacy left behind by the great Henry Sugar. How does the film end during the wonderful story of Henry Sugar's ending? John Winston told Roald that Henry Sugar was not the real name of the great man, and he didn't want to reveal his identity, probably because he wanted to purport an idea that anyone with a big heart and a little of humanity in them could become Henry Sugar. Here was a man who only thought of money all his life and hadn't worked a single day yet. His life changed when he realized his true calling in a time and space where he least expected it. Once he connected to his higher self material, things did not hold any meaning for him, and he spent the rest of his life working for the ones who needed him. The wonderful story of Henry Sugar is a rather simple story by Roald Dahl, and maybe through it, he tries to tell us that kindness is a choice, and through it you can make this world a better place to live in. The real meaning of the wonderful story of Henry Sugar's ending, although the magical ability to see without the use of eyes is the central plot point in the movie. The wonderful story of Henry Sugar is really about greed and the emptiness of wealth. It carries the message that no amount of money can substitute for a life well lived surrounded by loving friends. At the beginning of the movie, Henry has a lot of money and no friends because he's too vain and self-centered to be emotionally available to others. At the end of it, he dies without a penny to his name, having lived a rich life full of adventure with a beloved group of loved ones and acquaintances. That's all for now, folks. I would appreciate it if you could give the video a super thanks with a thumbs up. Thank you for joining us as we delved into the mesmerizing tale of the wonderful story of Henry Sugar. Roald Dahl's profound narrative reminds us of the transformative power of self-reflection and the magic that lies within discipline and determination. If you enjoyed our deep dive into this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more insightful movie explanations. Until next time, keep exploring the wonder of stories.